So a little bit of an interesting development came out of the recent video I made where I kind of briefly touched up on the weird experiences that me and my friends would have in GTA 5 online with, PvP when fighting a certain kind of player, right? Like a griefer or something like that. A Twitter mutual of mine reached out and he basically said, hey look, me and my friend group do the same thing and we actually experienced the same shit. And I told him in very specific detail when we started experiencing it, and it turns out he started experiencing it at the same time as well, roughly. And he mentioned that he was fighting a griefer once, and the game just kept spawning him in the same spot over and over again, which to me sounded similar to what me and my friends experienced. We'd be fighting a griefer and the game would spawn us over and over again in his sightlines while he's ADSing with a sniper scope, and we could sometimes even spawn in live traffic. That never happens by itself. Usually you never normally spawn in the middle of a road, but we have had multiple instances personally where we spawn in front of a car that is going at like a decent rate of speed and they smash into us, knocking us onto the ground, basically allowing that griefer or that tryhard to get a pretty easy kill, which again never happens naturally. When he mentioned his story, I thought surely, maybe he just happened to be in a certain spot of the map, like kind of the weird beach area near the military base where you can kind of predict the spawns a little bit, where the spawns are a little weird. But no, this was actually damn near the city. It was pretty close to the city. It was like right around the marina, right between the weird factory warehouse thingy and the marina. And he actually sent me a clip after I requested it, and it turns out, yeah, he was completely legit. He was experiencing the same thing that we've experienced. And I want to show this clip here because it is actually pretty interesting. Of course, I'm going to speed it up a little bit because it is like roughly a minute, 20 something seconds. So yeah. Pretty suspect video, but I know what some may say, it's just a coincidence, it is just, yeah, I don't know. No, it's not really a coincidence because I actually flew to the same exact spot and I conducted my own test. And what I found was absolutely jaw-dropping. So not only did I not spawn in the same spot over and over again, I spawned further and further away like I normally should, and I ran this test 4 different times, the same thing happening every single time. Which proves to me that there is something innately in the game. Like, again, look, we know the traffic is fucked up. We know the traffic is rigged. There's hundreds of videos on YouTube, I'm sure, where people are showing the traffic. In fact, I'm going to play some of that in the background here from a YouTuber that I will credit in the description. I'm going to link to his video. There are multiple videos where it is blatantly obvious the cars or the NPCs were hard-coded after the import-export update to just smash into you. And I don't know if this has an effect on single player, but I definitely know the NPCs are not the same way they used to be back in the day. That's definitely for sure. The NPCs definitely lost a few IQ points in single player over the years, but in online it is just nuts. So if Rockstar is willing to rig the NPC driving mechanics, what else are they willing to rig? And well, it turns out the PvP maybe. The spawn system is verifiably based on the evidence that I've gotten right here, and that's not even all of it. He has more clips that he hasn't sent yet, but he will be sending them in the future, I'm sure. That's enough evidence for me that the spawns are just rigged, at least when you're fighting a griefer or a tryhard, which is what we started experiencing around in 2020, because all throughout 2019, according to my memory at least, that was a total year of ass-kicking for a lot of these Mark II griefers. There wasn't a single session, I can't remember if we played free aim or auto aim, We might have cycled between both, but I remember distinctly it was almost every single lobby. If somebody started griefing in a Mark II, there was somebody just kicking the dog shit out of them with like a jet or something like that, right? So 2019 was just a year where that was just non-stop. That's all that would happen, right? And just randomly out of the blue in middle of 2020, this weird lag out thing started. And by the way, it happened to others before it started happening to me. I didn't really notice what was happening at first. Yeah, I thought it was a little weird, but what would happen is that like when I'll just call them like anti-griefers, I guess, but when an anti-griefer in a jet would fly towards a Mark II griefer, I noticed that like almost every single time the jet user would just leave the session. They would get within maybe a 4-block radius and then poof, they're gone. I thought this was just a weird coincidence, maybe, but when this started happening more and more, I was like, gee, there might just be like server issues or something, and then it happened to me. When I started getting good, both me and my friend, we got really good at one point at actually like shooting Mark IIs with like laser cannons and shit, and with the Hydra cannons. And at one point, as I mentioned in the other video, anytime I'd get near a jet in a public session, it would literally just kick me out of the session immediately, without hesitation. And this wasn't something that just happened once and like kind of didn't happen again for a few other days or a few other hours. This consistently happened every session I was in. And it got to a point where I literally just, that's like probably half the clips that I had on my hard drive at one point of just the evidence. Because like I was able to just hit record and I was able to predict exactly when it was going to happen, what was going to happen, etc. Right? And that's not even considering the Kasatka lag out problem, the problem where I couldn't even play with him for the longest time. I don't even think I brought up the bullet damage problem yet. I fought a lot of griefers who were not in a CEO thing, that they were not in an organization, they were not dropping BST, they were not using body armor. I had multiple fights where it takes me like 2 or 3 center mass shots with a heavy sniper Mark II to kill someone, while it only takes them 1 shot to the chest to kill me, while I'm wearing a helmet, so it's not a headshot either. So weird bullet damage problems, which by the way happens in Call of Duty. That's actually verified. There's actually patents behind that. So Activision, at least, is upfront about it. A little bit. On the backside, kind of, at least. But with GTA Online, there is something weird going on that, like, nobody wants to acknowledge. I actually watch a YouTuber who plays on PC who has weird shit happen to him too, but he never really suspects that it's a in-game built-in feature. He just kind of, whatever. Because who wants to really come off as a conspiracy theorist, right? When you have a game like GTA 5 Online, which has been casual since it came out, right? I mean, even GTA 4 Online was pretty casual. All the GTA Onlines are really casual. Even the SAMP. But yeah, so the whole, I guess, synopsis of this video is that, look, the shit's rigged. There's something sus going on. If you have clips, and I mean, if you have any clips whatsoever of weird shit going on, definitely send them to me. One thing that I forgot to mention with the whole spawn system though is something to do with cell missions. So my Twitter mutual who sent me that clip that I showed earlier, he also had a similar experience that I had where I was once selling something and killed the guy that was trying to grief me while he also killed me. So it was like kind of a kill trade. And the game decided to spawn me like 3 blocks away from my cargo for some reason, while it spawned him literally 10 feet from it. Didn't just happen once. It happened multiple times, especially with like, you know, my friends' businesses and all that, because they would often sell in public sessions way more than I would. But that happened like so many times that I just like could not ignore the fact that there was like something weird going on. There was some weird rigging. There was some weird script running in the background that just seemed to just try to balance the odds against my favor all the time, especially when selling cargo and all that stuff, especially when fighting a griefer, etc. Now, I've also been on the receiving end of whatever the system might be, whatever scripts might be running, because I don't often PvP anymore, and I especially don't really griefers anymore all that much. Especially not solo. My friend, however, does. He plays this game in PvPs a little more than I do sometimes, especially against those griefer types. When someone kills me, I just fucking don't care anymore. But he still will go after people that kill him or grief or, you know, etc. So whatever metrics they use to metric who's an anti-griefer and who's a griefer clearly has him, or just by logic would have him marked as more of a anti-griefer than me, right? Well, when me and him on several occasions would sort of, 1v1 each other in free mode, in a public session especially, I noticed that like the game would pamper me. Like it would pamper me with spawns that I never get. I never get good spawns. I always get like, normal spawns usually when fighting someone, or like how back in the day I used to get all these really fucking horrendous spawns where I'm being spawned like in the middle of a highway for some reason, middle of live traffic, maybe on a sidewalk where a car swerves 3 lanes to like run me over, which by the way that has happened. And I think I still may have that clip somewhere on my PlayStation. But the game would, when I'm 1v1ing with my friend here who kills griefers way more than I do at like a higher frequency, it would literally just pamper me with like ridiculous spawns. I remember at one point, this was a long time ago, like many months ago, where me and him were fighting and I was able to one-shot kill him and he wasn't able to one-shot kill me. That since hasn't happened since, but what has happened is, again, like I said, that spawn system thing. The game gave me good spawns, the game gave him really bad spawns, and etc, etc. Luckily no weird lag out things, but still, the spawn system at the very least has to be looked into just as much as the weird NPC driving mechanics have been. Because there is something definitely there. If no one wants to talk about the whole lag out thing, people definitely have to at least talk about the whole spawn system thing, because that's a big deal in my opinion. And one funny story as well is I was on several occasions jet griefing a griefer, and the game would just spawn him like under a bridge, like not any other normal bridge, but like that that 4, I think it's like an 8-lane underpass fucking thing. It's like south of the city. So there's this weird area where there's like an import-export garage, right? Like it just kept spawning the guy right underneath that when I was jet griefing him, basically protecting him. Like he spawned right where not even my cannons can get him, my missiles couldn't get him, nothing. And that happened multiple times throughout multiple fights. Of course, I still was massively up on the griefer, but still, like that still doesn't naturally happen. That does not organically occur. But yeah, that's about it for this video. Just wanted to quickly make this this video. I hope it's not too long. But yeah, I tried to record it like several times and I just could not record it for hours. I just did not have any energy. It's weird how in the middle of like 12 a.m. I just got to get a sudden burst of energy and I just fucking recorded this in basically just almost one take. But yeah, so that's about it for this video. I will make a part 2 if that Twitter mutual of mine sends any more clips. Because, again, this is definitely a real thing. This is not satire. I kind of wish it was, because it sounds like satire, but it ain't. This is some, like, almost Call of Duty engagement-optimized matchmaking, skill-based matchmaking shit, you know what I mean? I might get into it in a future video, like, why I think they're doing this. To put it briefly, in case I never make the video, I think they're doing this because at some point, the griefers were getting spanked so fucking hard, they just stopped playing the game, they stopped buying shark cards. And Rockstar kind of stepped in, implemented a system that protects them, and, the rest is history. And I also believe it's just to pamper them in general, to, like, surge them with artificial dopamine surges. Again, Call of Duty engagement optimized matchmaking style shit. It's the same kind of stuff. Artificially inflating people's egos, artificially pumping them with dopamine so they buy more microtransactions. It's nothing new. I would not be surprised if that was a reason behind this. I would feel pretty silly if all this just turned out to just be one massive coincidence. I kind of hope it is, but at the same time, I hope it's not, because it would kind of make us feel a little bit crazy for noticing all this shit happen. But yeah, that's about it for this video. I will, I guess, see you guys in the next one.